In the heart of a bustling metropolis, Edward Netherton, a man of vision and immense architectural prowess, often found himself lost in his own world. In the day, he was the city's cherished architect, sketching blueprints that would redefine the urban landscape, turning ordinary buildings into majestic towers that kissed the clouds. But when the clock chimed midnight, he would retreat into a different world, where the city's hustle was replaced with haunting silence, and the man of vision would turn into a man of curiosity. It was during one of these midnight retreats that Edward first encountered his elusive muse. Her sudden appearance was as mysterious as her persona, a shadow that moved with the grace of a swirling dervish, her form barely illuminated by the silvery glow of the moon. A seductive enigma, she would appear at his study window, her silhouette dark against the moonlit cityscape, never stepping into the light. She named herself Eternity, a name that echoed the vast expanse of the cosmos. Her eyes, a mesmerizing fire, held secrets that seemed as old as time itself. Her voice, as soothing as the night's lullaby, held an enchanting power that fed his curiosity, leading him further down the rabbit hole. He found himself drawn to her, to the allure of the unknown that she represented. Every night, they would share ideas, debate on concepts, and dream of structures yet unbuilt. These conversations with Eternity, wrapped in the quiet blanket of the night, were his private haven. Yet beneath the allure and the intellectual stimulation, Edward could not ignore an underlying sense of dread, a foreboding shiver that crept up his spine every time Eternity's fiery gaze met his. Unbeknownst to him, this midnight muse, his creative partner, harbored intentions far more sinister than he could imagine. Her promises of infinite knowledge and immortality held a price that would cost him far more than he could fathom. This was just the beginning of a dance with the devil, a dance that Edward Netherton had unknowingly agreed to lead. Eternity began to visit Edward more frequently, her presence becoming a constant in his late-night vigils. Every time the clock struck 12, the architect would retreat into his study, awaiting his mysterious muse. The promise of an extraordinary vision had ensnared his curiosity and tantalized his creative spirit. One such night, under the veil of a starless sky, Eternity unveiled her grand vision. She led Edward's gaze out the window to the city below. She guided his hand to sketch not a solitary structure, but an ensemble of 4 magnificent towers, each possessing a distinct character, their locations forming the vertices of a perfect square. In their midst, she imagined a park, a breathing space of tranquility nestled amidst the tower's impressive facades. She named herself Eternity, a name that echoed the vast expanse of the cosmos. Her eyes, a mesmerizing fire, held secrets that seemed as old as time itself. Her voice, as soothing as the night's lullaby, held an enchanting power that fed his curiosity, leading him further down the rabbit hole. He found himself drawn to her, to the allure of the unknown that she represented. Every night, they would share ideas, debate on concepts, and dream of structures yet unbuilt. These conversations with Eternity, wrapped in the quiet blanket of the night, were his private haven. Yet beneath the allure and the intellectual stimulation, Edward could not ignore an underlying sense of dread, a foreboding shiver that crept up his spine every time Eternity's fiery gaze met his. Unbeknownst to him, this midnight muse, his creative partner, harbored intentions far more sinister than he could imagine. Her promises of infinite knowledge and immortality held a price that would cost him far more than he could fathom. This was just the beginning of a dance with the devil, a dance that Edward Netherton had unknowingly agreed to lead. Night after night, Eternity poured her celestial knowledge into Edward's eager mind. She guided his hand to detail every nuance, every grand idea, till their shared vision was captured in blueprints that promised a cityscape beyond anyone's imagination. Yet for all its architectural brilliance, the vision was more than a mere city plan. It was the roadmap to Edward's immortality. However, the architect was too entranced by the prospect of bringing this extraordinary vision to life to recognize the ominous undercurrent of his pact with Eternity. Little did he know that each stroke of his pen was inching him closer to an irreversible destiny. With the grand vision etched firmly in his mind and the detailed blueprints spread across his study, Edward Netherton embarked on the monumental task of bringing the towers to life. It was a task that would consume years of his life, a mission that would push the boundaries of his architectural prowess, challenging his creative genius and determination. However, he was undeterred, for he was a man possessed, fueled by the allure of eternity's vision and the intoxicating promise of immortality and infinite knowledge. The city watched in awe as the first tower, the Avanara, began to ascend. It was a symbol of rejuvenation, its intricate design mirroring the vitality of spring. As the tower grew, so did the city's admiration for Edward's architectural brilliance. The Avanara was a testament to the dawning of a new era, a tribute to innovation and a celebration of life. The city was spellbound by its intricate patterns reflecting blooming flora, its green terraces and rooftop gardens that breathed life into the steel structure. Following the Avanara, Edward brought to life the Zenith Tower, a soaring symbol of prosperity. Its gold-tinted glass facade shimmered in the summer sun, radiating opulence. It was a structure designed to reach the skies, its peak adorned with a spectacular crystal crown that refracted the sunlight into a cascade of vibrant colors, illuminating the city below. Then came the Seraph Tower, a monument to wisdom and autumn's tranquility. The tower was a sanctuary of knowledge, housing vast libraries and state-of-the-art research facilities. It was a beacon that drew the city's intellectuals, a hub where minds thrived and ideas flourished. Lastly, the Obsidian Tower was erected, its dark, resilient exterior reflecting winter's strength. A fortress amid the city, the tower stood as a testament to the city's resilience, a symbol of their survival against the harshest elements. With each tower's completion, the city's skyline was forever transformed, a testament to the genius of Edward Netherton. At the heart of these towering giants, the park bloomed, a breath of tranquility in the heart of a bustling metropolis. Yet, for all their grandeur, the towers bore an unseen burden, the imminent cost of Edward's ambition, a price he was yet to comprehend. The completion of the towers marked a monumental achievement in Edward's life, propelling him to unprecedented fame and respect. But as the city celebrated its transformed skyline, and the world hailed Edward Netherton as a visionary, the architect found himself standing at the threshold of another monumental event. For it was at this moment that eternity decided to reveal the ultimate reward for his labor, the gift of immortality. On a night when the city's celebrations had finally simmered down, eternity came to him. There was a newfound intensity in her fiery gaze, her silhouette more ominous than ever against the backdrop of the towers that Edward had erected. The hour had come, she declared, for him to receive the eternal life he was promised. In the quiet confines of his study, under the watchful gaze of his muse, Edward was made to ink his pact with immortality. But as with any deal that bore the mark of the supernatural, this pact carried its own price. Eternity revealed that Edward's soul was the currency for this transaction. Yet, the allure of eternal life and limitless knowledge, coupled with the intoxication of his recent achievements, clouded Edward's judgment. He agreed to the pact, inking his consent with a quill dipped in his own blood. The moment the pact was sealed, Edward was engulfed by a sensation that was both chilling and exhilarating. He could feel his mortality being peeled away layer by layer, replaced by an overwhelming surge of vitality. He could perceive the world around him with an increased sense of clarity, every detail sharper, every color brighter. The knowledge of centuries flooded his mind, time and space bending to his will. He was no longer a mere man. He was now a being of infinite potential, an immortal trapped in the realm of mortals. Eternity's grand promise was fulfilled, but not without claiming its price. As Edward basked in his newfound power and knowledge, he remained blissfully ignorant of the ticking time bomb he had set off. For the clock was now ticking, counting down to the time when eternity would return to claim what was hers, Edward Netherton's soul. In the euphoria of his new existence, Edward's days were filled with an insatiable curiosity and an unparalleled understanding of the world. Yet, the nights belonged to eternity. Under the cloak of darkness, she continued to visit him, her red eyes glowing with an ominous fire. Her words, once a source of inspiration, now carried a foreboding weight. One such night, when the city was bathed in the pale glow of the moon, eternity delivered a prophecy. In her smoky voice that seemed to reverberate through the room, she foretold of her return. "In due time, Edward Netherton," she intoned, her gaze locked onto his, "I will come back." Her promise was not one of a muse's return, but a prophecy of the devil's reckoning. Eternity's demonic form, the one she had so skillfully concealed, began to unravel, her crimson eyes reflecting the hellfire that awaited Edward's soul. She spoke of a future where the towers would serve as a beacon, summoning her back from the depths of hell. The city he had so lovingly crafted, the architectural wonders he had birthed, would become a gateway for her return, a passage connecting the mortal realm to the fiery pits of the underworld. And when the time was right, she would return to claim the price of their pact, Edward's soul. A chilling silence descended upon the room, as eternity's prophecy hung heavily in the air. The revelation shook Edward to his core, but as he stared into eternity's fiery gaze, he realized the full magnitude of his folly. He was a prisoner of his own creation, trapped in a twisted game with the highest stakes, his very soul. Yet in the midst of his despair, Edward clung onto a glimmer of hope. His pact had granted him immortality and infinite knowledge. If there was a way to undo the consequences of his pact, or at least evade the impending doom, he was determined to find it. The architect, once celebrated as a visionary, was now a man on a mission to save his soul. As eternity's prophecy spread its shadow over Edward 1,000 miles away, in an ancient mansion nestled amidst an emerald forest, two figures huddled together. Moira, the white-haired oracle known for her far-sightedness, and Seraphina, a witch bestowed with the power of time manipulation, were engrossed in an ethereal screen, watching the events unfolding in Edward's life like a cinematic reel. Having been alerted to Edward's plight through Moira's foresight, the duo had been keeping a vigilant eye on the architect. Over the past years, they watched as Edward's ambition made him a pawn in eternity's sinister game. Their hearts ached for Edward, a man whose love for his craft had ensnared him in a devastating predicament. While the two women grieved Edward's fate, the screen flickered and a new face appeared. Silas Baxter, a man known to them as a brave adventurer who had cheated death several times, now stood amidst the grandeur of Edward's architectural marvels. But something was amiss. Silas was supposed to be in their time, not amidst the towering structures that belonged to a distant past. The screen shimmered again, revealing a shocking reality. Silas had been displaced in time, transported to the past due to an unfortunate incident involving the 13th floor of a building being sucked into hell. Silas stood in the heart of Edward's grand city, ignorant of the danger that lurked in the shadows. If spotted by eternity, he would undoubtedly fall prey to her malevolent plan. Moira and Seraphina sprang into action, their hearts pounding with the urgency of their task. They had to save Silas before eternity ensnared him, using him as leverage over Edward, further complicating the architect's already dire situation. Seraphina, her eyes glowing with determination, conjured a time portal, while Moira, using her foresight, located the precise moment of Silas's arrival in the past. With a shared nod of agreement, they stepped through the portal, landing amidst the towering structures that marked Edward's grand cityscape. Locating Silas was not a challenge for Moira's keen eyes. The adventurer was wandering amidst the city's hustle, his confusion evident in his stance. Approaching him, Moira and Seraphina swiftly explained their situation, assuring him of their intent to return him to their time. Meanwhile, Eternity had noticed the disruption in her realm. Sensing the arrival of unfamiliar entities, she looked out from the shadows, her red eyes narrowing at the sight of the trio. She was yet to identify the two women, but she recognized Silas Baxter. The city had changed. What was once a beacon of progress and architectural wonder now had a palpable tension in the air. The towers that Edward built stood tall, but the ominous shadow of eternity's prophecy cast a foreboding gloom over the metropolis. Amidst the unsettling quiet, Moira and Seraphina moved with purpose, their every step echoing the weight of the task at hand. Silas, having been rescued from a fate worse than death, was more determined than ever. He had seen the horrors that lay beyond, and the vision haunted him. Stopping abruptly, Silas addressed the duo with urgency in his voice. "We have a lot at stake. These towers, this city, Edward's soul, and possibly the fate of our realm. Before we act further, we need to harness more power, fortify our abilities, and reach out to allies that reside in realms beyond our own. The battles ahead will test us in ways we've never imagined." The trio understood the gravity of their mission. They began to tap into ancient spells and rituals, pooling their strengths and forging new alliances. But even as they did, the ground beneath them trembled. An enormous black mist began to envelop the heart of the city, slowly converging on the 13th floor. She named herself Eternity, a name that echoed the vast expanse of the cosmos. Her eyes, a mesmerizing fire, held secrets that seemed as old as time itself. Her voice, as soothing as the night's lullaby, held an enchanting power that fed his curiosity, leading him further down the rabbit hole. He found himself drawn to her, to the allure of the unknown that she represented. Every night, they would share ideas, debate on concepts, and dream of structures yet unbuilt. These conversations with eternity, wrapped in the quiet blanket of the night, were his private haven. Yet beneath the allure and the intellectual stimulation, Edward could not ignore an underlying sense of dread, a foreboding shiver that crept up his spine every time eternity's fiery gaze met his. Unbeknownst to him, this midnight muse, his creative partner, harbored intentions far more sinister than he could imagine. Her promises of infinite knowledge and immortality held a price that would cost him far more than he could fathom. This was just the beginning of a dance with the devil, a dance that Edward Netherton had unknowingly agreed to lead. Hey everyone, welcome to our channel. We're so excited to have you here and share our content with you. If you're new here, make sure to click that subscribe button down below and hit the notification bell so you never miss an upload. Thanks for watching, and we can't wait to see you in the next video.